What's up, Solid Rock Youth? This is Pastor Sean here bringing you your word on the web today. I hope you're having an awesome Thursday morning as always. I hope you're enjoying these recap videos. I want you to know this is really important. We want to really remind you guys of the things that the Lord is doing and saying in our youth group. We want you to remember it and for it to stick with you. Today I want to recap what we talked about on leadership. This is coming in response to the football game we had on Jersey Sunday at the after party at Pastor Andrea and I's house. When we play football or any sport, there's leadership involved. It's an activity that naturally requires leaders. But on Wednesday night, we talked about what true leadership is in God's eyes. You know, the world has this idea of leadership that's self-exalting. It puts us above others. The mentality of the world in leadership is that we can step on anybody as long as the result is that I get to the top. Can I tell you that that's the exact opposite of God's idea of true leadership? You heard this from me on Wednesday night, but I want you to remember it's so important, guys, that our character will always be more important than our skill or our abilities. You know, in 1 Samuel 16, the Bible tells the story of King David being selected as God's leader. God picked him. But what was interesting about it is that David really wasn't very well respected in terms of his skill or his ability. He was kind of overlooked. When Samuel went to anoint the new king, he came to this man's house, and this man had several sons. And the first son that Samuel saw, he was tall, he looked like the part of a king. And Samuel thought, this guy's probably it. I bet you this is the one that God has picked. And God said to him, Samuel, that's not the one. You're looking at the outward appearance, but I see the heart. And I know who I've picked already. So Samuel says, nope, this isn't the one God picked. And the man marches all his sons out in front of the prophet Samuel. And when it's all said and done, he says, none of these are the one that God has picked. Are you sure this is the last? These are the last of them. And the man says, well, I have one more son, but he's just a shepherd boy. He's out in the fields. He's tending to the flocks. I mean, do you really even want to consider him? See, when other people thought that David wasn't really a leader, when other people thought that he didn't have it in him, he didn't have qualities that made him a leader, because their idea of leadership wasn't right. But God's idea was clear, and it had to do with David's heart. The Bible says that David was a man after God's heart, which means he had a heart like God's. And that's what God is looking for. That's what true leadership is, guys. And in front of all his brothers, David was marched up and anointed to be God's king. You see, it wasn't about the skill. And in the football game, I heard some of you really being encouraging to each other, even to people on the other team. That's leadership. You were treating each other right. Those are the things that true leadership is about. Loving others, putting others before yourself. When it comes to teams, a true leader puts the team before his own self. You might not have gotten the chance to score a point in that game, but you helped somebody else get it. You supported your team. I'm sitting here in our Solid Rock Sanctuary in front of the cross. The greatest leader we've ever known or ever will know is Jesus, the one who bore the cross. The Bible says that even though he was an equal with God, he didn't try to bring all the glory to himself. The Bible says that instead, he emptied himself and became humble. He humbled himself even to the point where it cost him his life. Guys, that's the attitude of leadership that we've got to have. The world says, step on everybody else, put them down if you have to so that you come out on top. The word says, follow Jesus' example. Prefer others over yourself. That's true leadership, and God will honor it. I love you guys today. Remember the word. You are called to be leaders. Remember that. We love you guys, and we're praying for you. Jersey,